and you can't have those kind of things. And we were 0 for 9 at halftime. Kerwin made 2 in the second half. Nobody else made any. And turning the ball over, it was a lower possession game. We still had 11. Didn't like those. And then shooting the ball in the basket, the 2 biggest problems we've had all year long, jumped up and hurt us again, and we couldn't counterbalance it with something else being great.
One, Tar Heel, some of the best minutes for Walker Kessler this year, Coach. He had 9 points, 5 rebounds in just 12 minutes, but really gave you some good production off the bench.
Yeah, and because we weren't getting good play at times from some of the other people, wanted to give him a chance, and I thought it was one of his best performances and probably his best since we played North Carolina State at North Carolina State. He cares so much that one negative bothers him for 3 days, and so we've got to get him out of that. But just love him as a kid, love what he's trying to do, love what he's standing for, and think he's going to be a big-time player for us.
Coach, the weather was pretty nasty up there. Did you guys have any problems getting up or getting home?
No, you're always awake. I mean, I'm trying to watch the game coming back, for example, because I'm so frustrated. But at the same time, I'm trying to watch the roads and see what's coming next because, we trust John, our driver, and Southern Company, and they did a great job of checking and finding out the information that they needed on the roads. But still, I'm sitting in that front seat, and I can see what's going on. And I was more alert than I am most times.
The other news on Saturday, Coach, came out right before the Virginia game started was that you lost the Virginia Tech game to postponement due to some COVID problems within the Hokie basketball program. When did you guys hear the news and know that you weren't going to be able to play that game?
Well, I thought there was some talk about it on Friday, if I'm not mistaken, and then getting the final news on Saturday morning. And we've never found out because it said COVID issues and injuries and those kind of things, so who knows what it is. But our world has been much different this year. I know Mike Young very, very well, and I know they're not trying to change it just for injuries because if that were the case, we would have changed every game we played last year kind of thing. But they have some COVID issues, and we just have to wait and see what's going to happen.
And, Coach, it's gotten to the point this week that the Tar Heels on social media, on their official count, actually said, hey, we're looking for any opponents. Anybody want to play? Just trying to find somebody to play a game right now.
Well, not that. We're looking for somebody to play at home.
Yeah.
I mean, we've had fewer games at home than I would say any top 100 program in the country. And it's not even close in the ACC, the number of home games that we've played compared to the other teams in the ACC. So we're looking for home games, period, the end.
It has been, it's odd in that way. Like Florida State, for example, has played, I think, 14 games, 11 at home, 3 on the road. Tar Heels have played 19 games. They've played at home 6 times out of those 19 games. Coach, of course, there's no fans or limited fans to no fans, depending on the location. What are the challenges, though, of being on the road so much this season that have come up for your team?
Well, it's a very young team, and that gives you a lot of problems. But for people to think that the home court is not an advantage, they're not very good basketball people.
Right.
I mean, you get used to shooting at your home gym, the background, what you see, the way you feel about the court, everything. And, I mean, if that wasn't true, then give me a reason why in the ACC, I don't know what the figure is today, but 7 or 8, 9 days ago, over 70% of the games were being won by the home team. Now, come on, it's got to be an advantage whether the fans are there or not. And at that time, and again, I haven't seen it recently, at that time, that was the second highest percentage in the history of the ACC.
Wow.
So it is a tremendous advantage. You sleep in your own bed. You don't get on the bus. You don't get on the plane. You don't do any of that. You go shoot around at your gym. You eat in your facility. Then you go back and play the game where you practice probably 4, 5, 6 times a week.
And Carolina has now played 4 consecutive road games. The last 4 games for the Tar Heels have all been away from home. And again, 19 total games, 13 on a neutral or true road court. Carolina has played at home just 6 times. One more question kind of in this area, Coach. Then we're going to take a break, talk to Clint Gwaltney after this timeout. It's been a unique season for everybody, of course. I'd be interested, player parents normally come and can see their sons play every single time if they choose to. How have you guys reached out and tried to keep that dialogue going with the player parents and keep them as involved as possible?
Well, just trying to communicate the facts of the matter. The facts of the matter are that some places allow you to have tickets when you come and play in their place. Very minimum. At most cases, we had fans at Florida State, Iowa, Clemson, a few places like that have more people in their building than we do here, but we go by North Carolina state guidelines. We go by the state of North Carolina guidelines. We also go by Orange County guidelines, and they're different from one place to the other. And so if we go somewhere and they give us some tickets, that's great. If we go somewhere and they don't give us tickets, we have no control over that. And it's a difficult situation and everywhere. And I mean, at Virginia, I didn't realize this, and I may have this story wrong, but you get 250 tickets to go in for basketball, 250 for football, 250 for women's volleyball, 250 for gymnastics. So that's the most unusual place, the number that I guess I've heard. But I'm sure they had a great reason for making that rule.
All right, we still have a lot to do with Coach. After this commercial break, though, we're going to be joined by Clint Gwaltney. We'll chat with Clint. As we said earlier, he manages the Tar Heels schedule from an administrative perspective, of course, working closely with Coach on that, but Clint's dealing with that on a day-in, day-out basis, along with a lot of other things around Tar Heel basketball. So going to chat with him a little bit about the challenges of the schedule this year, and then Coach is going to rejoin us coming up in a little bit. We'll answer some of your questions here on The Roy Williams Show from Learfield, IMG College. Roy Williams Show. My name is Jones Angel, along with the Hall of Fame head coach of the Tar Heels, Roy Williams. And, of course, every single week we tackle some questions from you, and you can send those in throughout the week. We record the show on Monday afternoons for air on Monday evening. You can send a tweet to me at Jones Angel, Angel 2 L's at the end, or shoot me an email. It's at asktheheels@gmail.com. asktheheels@gmail.com. And, of course, our first 3 questions every week are presented by Blue Cross and Blue Shield of North Carolina, reminding you to practice your 3 W's: wear, wait, and wash. And we resolve to keep North Carolina healthy. Let's get to our top 3 this week. And, Coach, we'll start with Brian Garrison. Brian sent this one in. Wanted to know your thoughts on the new penalties for flopping. We've seen that called on the Tar Heels early in the year. We've seen it on a Tar Heel opponent. I think it was at Pittsburgh here in recent weeks as well, where if the officials deem that a player has flopped, they can give them a warning. Brian was interested in your thoughts on that rule.
I think it's a good rule. I haven't seen it followed up by a second whistle and a technical at all year. I've seen once for us and at least once, maybe twice on the other team. But I think it's good for the game, and so I like the rule, but we just haven't seen anybody follow up with the second one.
You get pretty heated when the Tar Heels get – I mean, that's not something the Tar Heels talk about or teach.
No, and not only do we not teach it, I get ticked off when they do it. If you get hit, that's fine, but if you flop and it's not called, you've taken yourself out of defensive position, so the guy just lays it up. Mm-hmm. And that just irritates me a great deal, and so we do not do that.
Coach, a question from Sam Hickman. It's about rebounding. Wants to know if you feel as though rebounding is more about positioning or more about skill or more about effort when somebody's a really good rebounder.
Sometimes the ball just seems to find guys more than it does others, but all those guys that the ball seems to find their hand, you look and they anticipate their teammate's shot on the offensive end of the board. So they step inside and get defensive position, and then they usually have ability to go get the ball with it if they think in terms of the rebounding. So I think it's a lot of different factors, but you want to be a great passer. Your attitude is that when anybody shoots the ball, they're really passing the ball to you is an attitude. I think it helps you in rebounding more than anything.
Do you think there's a difference between a good offensive rebounder and defensive rebound? I mean, is that a unique skill?
I mean, offensively, it's different. You're trying to sneak inside the guy there trying to box you out. It's not as physical. On the defensive end of the floor, you've got to go get somebody and put your body on them. It's much more physical, not just speed and quickness and that kind of thing. So I think it is a big difference. And some guys can be really good on one end of the court and not very good on the other.
Coach, last one here for this segment, and our top 3 questions, again, presented by Blue Cross and Blue Shield. This one comes from Brian, and this is a vague one, Coach. He says he's heard you tell a story of you and Mark Few in an NCAA tournament, maybe somebody getting pulled over in a car or something like that. I was wondering if you could recount this story. He said it is one that he has heard and thought was really, really funny.
Well, it's funny to us even more so now. The longer it gets away, the story gets a lot better because I'm sure I embellish it, and I'm sure Mark does too. But it was during the 2009 tournament. We're both scheduled to be in Memphis. Mark is one of my best friends. We've enjoyed some of the trips together with Nike. We've enjoyed some golf together. I enjoy his family. And Wanda knows Marcy, his wife. And so we're good friends. And I called and said, you're in Memphis, and when do you get there? And he said Monday night, and I said, yeah, we do. We also get there Monday night. We don't play, and I think it was till Thursday. I said, 23 miles down the road is Tunica, and there's a casino down there. Once you get your staff, I'll get my staff, and we'll go down there and have a night of some fun together with our staffs, because we know their guys and they know mine. And so he said, I'm in. I said, no, think about it, because you could get some criticism.
Right.
And I said, I don't want you to do that. And I said, we're staying at the Peabody. You're right across the street. We could meet in our parking lot to go. But he said, no, I'm in. And so then I called him back the next day just to make sure, and he was in. And so we went, and we had probably 2 to 3 hours together and had a lot of fun. Did not win any money at all, lost all our money. But we had fun together. We get back in the car, and we're going back up from Tunica. And I'm driving the NCAA courtesy car. It's got the NCAA logo on and one of the coaches said, maybe we should take this off. I said, guys, we're doing nothing illegal. And so they stopped me, and they had seen me pull out and thought I was drinking, which, needless to say, was not the case. And so they let me go. And I said, there's another car about 5 minutes behind us, because we beat their staff out, that has this same kind of car. See if you can pull them over also and scare them to death. And so the next day I went to shoot around, I guess, and I went out there and found their equipment manager who was with them on the trip. I said, did you guys get stopped last night going out? He said, no. And I said, hey, gummit. He said, what happened? And I told him, and he was just dying. He said, if that had happened, it would have been even better. But so it worked out. We had a lot of fun, and a couple of days later we played, and we had more fun than they did because we won the game.
He's got a heck of a team this year, too.
Oh, man, are they something else. I've seen him on TV, and they have no negatives. They have no weaknesses. He's just got to stay healthy, be lucky without losing some guys, and he's got the best team. Best team doesn't always win in college.
That's right.
But he does have the best team.
All good questions. Great story, Coach. Thank you, and thank everybody for the questions. We're going to get to some more after this break, but those three brought to you by Blue Cross and Blue Shield of North Carolina, reminding you to practice your 3 W's: wear, wait, and wash, and resolve to help keep North Carolina healthy. We'll take a timeout. A few more questions with Coach after this from Learfield, IMG College. Thanks again for being here on the Roy Williams Show. Always enjoy chatting with the head coach of the Tar Heels here on Mondays to talk Tar Heel basketball. Thanks so much for being a part, asking your questions, and listening in. And, Coach, this one comes from Adam. Wanted to know how you stay in touch with your 2 commitments right now, Dontrez Styles and DeMarco Dunn, and how often you're able to talk to those guys and check in on them.
Well, both those guys were underneath Coach Robinson's group of guys to talk to, so he talks to them a lot more than I do. But I call them, check on their games, see how they're doing. Dontrez took a really tough, scary fall, and checking on him, we've tried to be very much active and seeing if they need any help for talking to people like the people we have here at our great hospital. But, no, keep contact with them and watch some tapes on some of their games. But it's killing me because I'd love to be there seeing them in person, supporting them.
Well, in the high school games, everybody in North Carolina wearing masks during the game seems like that would be tough. But everybody's doing what they want to do or trying to do to stay safe.
And it's the same for everybody. Yeah. But in different areas of the state, though, they've got much more freedom than they do in other areas. And so, it's hard to gauge exactly what's the best.
Speaking of masks, Coach, we actually got a question about the mask that you and your staff wear, and I think it's the one that you have on right now as you're doing the show. And Amy sent this one in, just said she really liked it, thought it was a sharp-looking mask. And are those Carolina basketball specific? Did you guys have somebody make those for you?
Well, they're being made by Julian's, and they are selling them. Yeah. So I'm sure they like the ads that we give them, kind of thing. But they are comfortable. They're very well made. I can say, try to blow through them, and you don't feel that on the other side. And so we feel like they're very good, and they are nice looking, nice feeling. So that's the reason we wear them.
We'll get one more here, then we're going to take a break and finish things up with Coach after this timeout. This one comes from Ashley, Coach. She said she saw the North Carolina Central basketball program highlighted on ESPN. They're doing some kind of documentary series, I think, with North Carolina Central. And she was impressed with Coach Moten. Of course, Carolina played Central earlier this year. She wondered about your relationship with Coach Moten and if you know him very well.
Yes, I do. Lavelle's one of the great guys in our profession, period. I mean, he's one of the great guys. I mean, he's fun to be around. He's a good basketball guy. He's a good coach, a good person. Just enjoy everything about him. I always, when I'm looking down those scores, I always try to check and see what Central's done. He feels like he's part of our basketball family. He's been so close to the guys from Raymond and David Noel and Sean and all those guys way back at that time. But just genuinely a great person. I said good this and good that, but he's really great in so many areas. But he's a great person that makes me laugh. I enjoy listening to him. I enjoy getting his temperature on certain issues, and he's a guy I trust a great deal.
Good questions. Again, we appreciate everybody sending them in, and we'll do some every single show. AskTheHeels@gmail.com, or you can send me a tweet at JonesAngel. Angel has 2 L's at the end. All right, come back, wrap things up with Coach after this from Learfield, IMG College. Well, as of now, the Tar Heels don't play again until Saturday in the Smith Center against Louisville. Coach, if another game is not scheduled this week, how do you handle things this week with you guys?
Well, you don't know. You got to practice and be prepared, and we've had it before where we had 36 hours before a change in the game and who you're playing, and you have to be able to roll from the punches. What we're trying to do is practice to get North Carolina better. We're not aiming practice towards getting somebody else's what they do the most. They're in every single time you play, you get some tidbits of information, that things they like the best. So you give those to your team. But we're not in that form at all, that stage at all. We're trying to get better as a team.
Just some notes on Louisville. They've had 4 of their last 5 games postponed. The Cardinals have not played since February the 1st. They are scheduled to play Wednesday against Syracuse. They've had a good year, 11-4 overall, but really hard to know much about Louisville, Coach, at the moment.
Well, I've seen them play several times on tape because it seems like the people that we're getting ready to play, they have just played Louisville. And so we've got a lot of information, but how teams react from the pauses is always interesting. But I think right now they're scheduled to play Wednesday night, so we'll have an opportunity to see them then.
Carlik Jones, their leading scorer, a transfer. He's averaging better than 17 points per game. Coach, as always, thank you so much for your time here on the show. Appreciate you giving us a few minutes, and look forward to talking with you again next week.
All right, Jones, be good, son. Thank you. It's been fun being here.